What's happening, Manhwa champions? Don't forget to leave your feedback and smash that like button. Now let's dive into this epic tale. Our episode opens with a reflective monologue from our protagonist as we glimpse the majestic figure of his father, the heavenly demon. Clad in striking white and red robes adorned with majestic dragons and crimson clouds, his father's presence is commanding. My father, the heavenly demon, declared he wouldn't limit the selection of the next cult leader solely to his bloodline, the protagonist narrates solemnly. This caused an uproar within the cult, as it meant anyone could claim the title of heavenly demon, provided they were the strongest. We see intense scenes of fierce combat unfold, with men and women skillfully engaging in martial arts battles. Father was serious about his announcement, the protagonist continues, and he launched a fierce contest among the next generation's leaders, calling it the new Demon Skirmish. The winner would earn the right to challenge one of his two sons. Whoever triumphed in that battle would have one wish personally granted by the heavenly demon. Returning to the present, we see an aggressive warrior with vibrant orange hair gripping a massive sword, his teeth clenched in defiance. "Why don't you give up while you still can?" he taunts the protagonist, who remains silently resolute. Our protagonist reflects bitterly on his past life. "I remember clearly. I felt insulted that he chose me, assuming he saw me as weaker than my older brother. But now perhaps there was another reason." His eyes narrow in anger, recalling how the barbarian-like man had bribed a kitchen servant to poison his rice, robbing him of his inner energy. We vividly witness this betrayal, the cook secretly mixing a clear liquid into the rice. "I lost the match because of his dirty trick," he recalls with regret, envisioning himself collapsed on the ground, wounded and bleeding, his sword just beyond reach. "When I informed my father, he said nothing, just gave me a disapproving look as if blaming me for falling victim to such a cheap scheme." We see brief glimpses of the protagonist desperately pushing himself beyond limits, attempting to redeem his honor and position. Despite his relentless effort, the defeat haunted him, causing him to lose ground in the succession war. "Everything started from that moment," he whispers gravely. A sudden shout snaps him back to reality. "Second young master, are you distracted even when I'm right in front of you?" The orange-haired man glares furiously. "What did you say your name was again?" the protagonist asks nonchalantly. "Are you mocking me, Gu Pyungho?" the barbarian-like warrior roars. "Ah, that's right, Gu Pyungho," our protagonist calmly acknowledges, pointing at him casually. Internally, our protagonist remembers vividly. He's the fifth disciple of Gu Cheonpa, the Blood Heaven Sword Demon, one of the terrifying 8 demon supremes. A towering silhouette, draped in crimson robes with a billowing scarf, momentarily dominates his thoughts. "Daring to disrespect me like this," Gu Pyungho growls fiercely, "must mean you're confident in your abilities." Our protagonist briefly glances up, locking eyes with his father seated imposingly above, surrounded by the other supreme leaders. "Back then I didn't realize," he thinks sharply, "but father already knew I had been poisoned. He was watching closely, observing how I'd handle such adversity." Confidence surges within him as he considers, "With the knowledge from my past life, I can easily defeat Gu Pyungho without using inner energy. However, I must conceal my true strength for now." In a dramatic gesture, he boldly thrusts his fist skyward, declaring loudly, "Hear me clearly, heroes of our cult. I will battle Gu Pyungho without using any inner energy." Gasps ripple through the crowd, astonishment evident on every face. "What?" echoes through the arena. Ignoring their shock, our protagonist boldly chants, "Unrivaled swordsman! Unrivaled swordsman!" The chant quickly catches fire, and the crowd erupts into passionate cheers, swords raised triumphantly in solidarity. Gu Pyungho, visibly shaken and sweating, snarls in response, "Fine, if that's how you want it, then I won't use my inner energy either." A sudden hush blankets the crowd. Confused whispers soon break the silence. "Neither will use inner energy? How boring," someone scoffs sarcastically. "What a waste of time," another mutters dismissively. Hearing these murmurs, Gu Pyungho grits his teeth in anger. "Damn it," he curses bitterly, gripping his enormous sword tightly. With an explosive force, he yanks the massive blade from the ground, causing stones and debris to scatter dramatically. "Second young master, Even without inner energy, remember, my sword has no eyes. It will cut down anything it touches. Our protagonist stands quietly, gazing thoughtfully at his younger hand and arm. Internally, he wonders, I feel so foreign in this younger body. Can I truly move it as freely as I wish? His contemplation is abruptly shattered by Gu Pyungho's booming voice from across the arena. Unsheath your sword, Gu demands aggressively, gripping his massive weapon tightly with both hands. Our protagonist calmly raises his sword slightly, remarking dismissively, I don't think I need a sword against you. The crowd erupts into mocking laughter, jeering loudly at Gu's humiliation. One spectator yells sarcastically, Hey, he's totally looking down on you. Fury blazing in his eyes, Gu Pyungho snarls, You! I won't kill you since you're the cult leader's son, but I'll take your arm. He lunges fiercely, sword raised high, eyes glowing red with violent intent. Unfazed, our protagonist calmly sidesteps the fierce downward strike, narrowly dodging with effortless precision. Good, he thinks with relief. My body's reaction time is quicker than I anticipated. Enraged, Gu pivots quickly, launching another vicious slash, only to strike empty air, hitting a mere afterimage. Our protagonist gracefully leaps upward, somersaulting through the air and landing majestically a short distance away. With a gentle smile, our protagonist places a hand over his rapidly beating heart. My heart is beating so strongly at this age, he murmurs thoughtfully. Damn you! You dare laugh at me? Roars Gu Pyungho furiously, lunging forward again with reckless aggression. Our protagonist's eyes narrow through strands of his dark hair. In a sudden burst of speed, he launches himself forward, driving his elbow forcefully into Gu's chest midair. Bam! Gu gasps violently, struggling desperately for air as a second devastating punch smashes into his face. Blood and teeth scatter through the air as Gu's head snaps back, tears streaming from his eyes in agonizing pain. Before Gu can even fall, our protagonist grabs him, cocking his fist back once more. A relentless storm of punches rains mercilessly upon Gu's airborne body, rapid, powerful strikes emanating golden energy as they hit. Blood gushes violently from Gu's mouth as he crashes to the ground on his knees, coughing and sputtering in agony. Ruthlessly, our protagonist grips Gu's arm, the one still clutching the massive sword. Was it this hand? Our protagonist questions coldly, leaping high into the air while firmly grasping Gu's arm. The hand you used to poison me? Tears of fearful realization flood Gu's eyes. Wait! He screams desperately, sweat pouring down his terrified face. With brutal finality, a sickening crack echoes as our protagonist viciously breaks Gu's arm. Bone pierces grotesquely through skin, blood spurting violently as Gu roars in unbearable agony, collapsing face first onto the ground. Absolute shock grips the spectators, gasps and murmurs rippling throughout the horrified crowd. Standing silently above his defeated opponent, sword still firmly in hand, our protagonist's gaze hardens with steely resolve. Now that I have returned to the past, he vows internally, I will no longer let others dictate how I live my life. A commanding hand rises slowly into the air, instantly silencing the murmuring crowd. As I promised, echoes a powerful voice from above, the heavenly demon himself, still seated upon his imposing throne. I shall grant you one wish. Tell me what you desire. Our protagonist pauses thoughtfully, aware of everyone's expectations. Usually, victors would request legendary weapons or secret martial arts scrolls. He senses the anticipation in the air, but today he resolves firmly, I'll follow my instincts. With determined clarity, he states aloud, I wish. The entire arena holds its breath. I wish to go on a hunt with you, Father. Shock ripples visibly through the spectators. Even Gu Pyungho, bloodied and defeated, lifts his head in disbelief. Silence hangs thickly until the heavenly demon breaks it, his voice low and inquisitive. You wish to hunt with me? Yes, our protagonist replies confidently, gazing steadily up at his father. I've heard you enjoyed hunting when you were young. I'd like to learn how to hunt from you. Suspicion momentarily flickers across the heavenly demon's stern face before he slowly rises, gripping his throne firmly. His towering figure, adorned in robes embroidered with fierce dragons, exudes immense authority. We depart tomorrow at dawn, he declares solemnly. Turning away in an aura of majesty, he exits, prompting respectful bows from the 8 powerful figures flanking his throne. Our protagonist watches silently, his gaze following his father's departing form. A bitter voice interrupts from behind. What an idiot! I can't believe you wasted your wish on something so pathetic. It's Gu Pyungho, now being assisted by 2 other disciples. Casually mocking our protagonist turns around, feigning ignorance. Oh? What did you say your name was again? Fury blazing in his eyes, Gu Pyungho roars. I'll kill you. Execute him now. He struggles violently, but is quickly dragged away by his companions, his shouts fading into the distance. Now that I've returned, our protagonist reflects quietly, the reckless lives you all lead no longer interest me. Sunlight gently illuminates his calm, resolute face. Later that evening, a sprawling mansion sits gracefully beneath a golden sunset. Inside, our protagonist stands contemplatively before a mirror, examining his youthful reflection. I really am young again, nothing like the old me, he muses thoughtfully. An older, more hardened face momentarily stares back at him. His mind drifts to his nemesis. Hwa Moogi. What could he be doing right now? If I can find him and eliminate him before he becomes powerful, this entire catastrophe could be prevented easily. Yet, he acknowledges the challenge. The problem is, he's notoriously elusive. He appeared suddenly in Jeong, as if falling from the sky. After annihilating the Murim Alliance, the Unorthodox Alliance, and even the Demon Cult, he vanished completely. Finding him won't be easy. A vision of Hwa Moogi walking away into obscurity, his crimson red eyes piercing through the shadows, flutters vividly through our protagonist's mind. Announcing his name openly to locate him would only provoke immense danger, he realizes grimly, folding his arms with deep contemplation. In the end, my primary goal remains unchanged, becoming stronger than Hwa Moogi. His thoughts are interrupted by a gentle yet familiar voice from behind. Young Master. Recognizing it instantly, he turns slowly to face the speaker, a large, robust woman clad impressively in armor. Her presence evokes immediate warmth and nostalgia. Lee On, he says softly, warmth filling his eyes. That's correct, young master, she replies earnestly, standing protectively before him. The words, Bodyguard Lee On, appear prominently, introducing her clearly. As memories flood back, he lowers his gaze thoughtfully. That's right. Lee On was always by my side, he reflects, humbled. At the time, I didn't realize her massive physique was a direct result of the martial arts techniques she mastered. More importantly, I failed to realize that it was all for my sake. Body purification technique, our protagonist narrates thoughtfully. A powerful martial art that temporarily hardens the body to become as tough as rock. It's an exclusive and secretive technique, known only to a select few. We see a vivid memory of a muscular warrior, his body rugged and solid, surrounded by jagged stones that reflect his toughness. Continuing his solemn narration, our protagonist adds, the technique's greatest flaw is that it significantly enlarges the user's body. Painful memories flood his mind, a vision of Lee On bravely leaping in front of him, sacrificing herself to block a fatal sword strike from Hwa Moogi. Grief shadows his face as he recalls, she gave her life to protect me. The kind, gentle face of Lee On draws closer in the present, noticing the protagonist's pensive gaze. Why are you looking at me like that, young master? She asks softly, confusion and concern in her voice. I never realized before. Her voice was always this pleasant, he thinks privately, his heart swelling with newfound appreciation. She was always ready to sacrifice herself for me, yet back then I considered her merely a simple bodyguard. I took her presence for granted, like the air we breathe. Emotion welling within him, he slowly approaches Lee On, causing her to blush slightly and look uncertain. She's even bigger than I remember, he notes warmly to himself, a gentle smile forming on his lips as he gazes at her. Lee On, startled yet intrigued by his gentle demeanor, remains silently curious, her eyes filled with unspoken questions. He's returned from death with a mission, but can he rewrite fate before it's too late? To see how far Jeong will go to protect those he once took for granted and crush the threat rising in the shadows. Find out in the next episode. But before you go, don't forget to tap like if you enjoyed the episode, subscribe for more epic recaps, turn on notifications so you never miss a chapter. And with that being said, Manhwa Champions, we're going to bring this video to an end. Thank you all for watching. Let me know what you think down in the comments, and I will catch you all later. Peace.